The SGB forms part of our school structures. But are you aware or do know of the role that it plays to you as a community? And do they, as the SGB, are doing justice, rather, to the roles that are meant for them to be playing? This is Social Life, and I'm Mveli CSI. Welcome back to Social Life with me, Mveli CSI. Still on the topic, discussing the SGB. With me is Ntate Regileng Maimele from Mveli CSI. Agenda. Lega. Re teng. O ka tsala pele o re tlhalosetse gore ntate ke mang o tswa kae?
Okay, lebitso ke Regileng Victor wa Maimele S01E03 tswa company bitsang Mveli CSI.
Le tsang ko Mveli CSI.
Re thusana le di-school governing bodies ka ho ba guide lo ba bontsha ditsela tse ba ka di berekisang to supplement and to progress mo dikolong. Yes.
Okay. Please tell us, what is SGB?
Okay. Thank you for that question. SGB is a school governing board. It's the government of the school, which is guided by South African School Act 84 of 1996. Yeah. So maybe to take it further, the composition of school governing body is made up of parents, people who are working at the school, be educators, general assistants, administrative assistants. The principal also is part, but he or she is not elected.
Okay.
She's there by virtue of being a principal, representing the HOD, head of department in our province, is Edward Musuwe. So the composition consists of the parents, and the parents, by all material time, they are majority. Meaning that if parents are 5, meaning all the other stakeholders, they need to be 4.
Okay.
If the parents are 6, meaning they mustn't exceed 5.
Okay. So you have more parents than the others. Okay.
Absolutely, all the combined. That is the composition of the SGB. And the SGB members, particularly parents, they are elected by the parents of the children who are schooling on that particular school.
Okay.
Educators, they elect themselves, the educators who are working at that particular school. Also the GA and the AAs. So either the GA and the AAs, they come together, and then they may have their own representative. They elect one from amongst themselves, so that in this all is balancing the stakeholder for that government. It's a government of unity, meaning that those who are representing there or they are present, they are presenting their constituents, meaning that the educators, after the meeting, they go back to their constituency to report back. The GAs and the AAs also like that. We as parents also, we do that. That's why the chairperson of the school governing body is the one who's calling a meeting, whether for the SGB or the parents. Then that is how it's going. And in the SGB, we've got chairperson, we've got secretary, we've got the treasurer. I'll just need to deliberate on those ones. The chairperson, it's a parent of a child who's schooling on that particular school who is not working at that particular school. Who is not working on that particular school. You find that in section 23 of South African School Act. That is how the composition of the SGB, particularly on the executive. Section 29, it explains the executive being, we call it the FinCom, is the chairperson of the SGB, the treasurer of the SGB, and the secretary. Those are the FinCom. But we have also went through that by bringing in the principal. But according to the law, the principal is nowhere. It shouldn't be,
It shouldn't be part of the SGB.
no, of the signatories,
Oh, the secretary. Okay.
of the account, the money.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, but for harmony,
Yes.
hey,
He's included.
yeah, we co-opted.
Okay.
Then the secretary, the role of the secretary is to take minutes and to keep information of the SGB.
Yeah.
The treasurer is looking the incoming funds and the outgoing funds and report back to the SGB.
Yeah.
So these other members, they are additional members. By virtue of being additional, they are automatically chairpersons of these other committees.
Okay.
Which committees that may be. It depends on the SGB how they want the committees manageable to be. You got your sports committee, you've got your bereavement committee, you've got your maintenance committee, your fundraising committee, your trip committee. All those committees, they are chaired by all those members. Each and every one has got a committee which is by law it's allowed to be chaired by, so that when we come in the SGB meeting, they are able to report back to the SGB on the report on their committees. The members of the SGB, they are the chairpersons of the committees.
Okay.
Then the members of those committees,
Yes.
also they're including the educators and the workers within the school.
Yeah.
There are the coordinators.
Yeah.
So that should anything happen at the school during the absentia of the members of the school governing body, the relevant coordinator to that, if it's sports, the coordinator of sports will able to communicate with the chairperson of sports, who is the member of the SGB. Then that message will escalate as such up to the entire SGB during the meeting situation. Even the report, they'll come in such to say, this is what is going to happen on this particular date, and we are trying to update you on this day. There will be some activities or a trip or whatever. Then, and the outlining and the management plan will be presented to the SGB. The SGB will have to adopt and then allow the process and the procedures to continue. Therefore, that is the role and the responsibility of the school governing bodies all. So that means it's not a question of the chairperson is running the show alone.
Yeah.
The secretary.
Everyone is pitching in.
Exactly. Everyone has got its role to play. That's why we got a governing body.
Yeah.
That body, it's alive and it's kicking. Part of the elections. Remember, when we're electing the school governing body, we are not electing the chairperson, the treasurer, whatever. On the election, we are just electing members.
Okay.
Once we finish to elect members,
only then
they themselves, they will sit exactly your point.
Yeah.
So everyone has to disclose to say, my department, I'm good on this, I'm good on this.
Yes.
Then versus the committees. If I'm saying I'm good in sports, someone can say, no, I'm good in chairing, Then we agree to say, okay, we can assist us in being our chairperson. Me, I said on sports, then something like that. Then we elect amongst ourselves based on our needs and understanding, and then from there we take it from there, and then we run the governing of the school.
What would you say are some of the challenges that SGB members could face or come across?
The challenges is one is to read. Read, understand, commit yourself, be hands-on. Then, and the training, they are very, very crucial. And the consultation, and also the SGB needs to be independent in consulting and getting information, like particularly training.
Yeah.
Remember, we learn every day.
True.
Yeah, there's no qualification or a degree to become a member of a SGB.
Yep, yes.
The only qualification is to have a child, to be a parent. That is the qualification enough. You know? So then once you see the governing body together, but you still feel like there's a gap, the law allows you, Section 23, give you that leeway to say you can even co-opt to come in
Yeah.
based on experience and
Expertise.
expertise to can come and assist the SGB. Yes, the SGB has to take that decision to request you or to incorporate you by requesting you to say, based on this,
Yeah.
we think and we feel we are requesting your advice or your assistance.
Yeah.
The only difference, while you are in there, you are limited.
Ah.
In which sense? Where there should be a vote, you are not going to vote. Remember, you are just going
Yeah.
to,
You're just helping out.
you are just helping out.
Yeah.
You have never been
Yes, you're not
elected.
part of the.
Yeah, but there's two types of this corruption. Yeah. One is without voting rights, one with voting rights.
Okay. How
What
does
is the
it work?
difference there? The difference is that the one with voting rights is a parent.
Okay.
Then it's been co-opted because maybe one has ceased or is lapsed or the child is already finished the study on that particular school.
Yeah.
Before the 90 days, we've got the opportunity to can co-opt before the by-election.
Okay.
Or we can go straight to the by-election. And then that's how it's worked. That is the difference. But the one which we co-opt, because of the expertise, no, you can't vote
You
if
can't
we have
vote,
to. When we're talking about vote, it doesn't mean that we are always voting in the SGB. No. All we're trying to say is that we've got, remember the SGB, the whole composition, they are employing. That one I don't know. They are employing, but according to the law, they are recommending. But they are the one who are employing, because they will write out in advert to say we've got this opportunity.
Yeah.
Then anyone who got interest, bring your CV. Then we got a committee, which is amongst the SGB. Meaning that if, let's say, the committee's got 5 members, remember the parents always and all the time, the majority. Meaning 3 supposed to be the parents component. Yeah? And then the other 2, they can be from the working at the school environment. Then they are making that committee of the interview and all the processes. And then after that, what they're going to do, they're going to go to the entire SGB. That process, we call it ratification. Remember, they're a committee. They're not the SGB. They go there with the mandate of committee, mandated by the SGB. And then they have to come back and report. And that coming back is called ratification, whereby we are going to take us through to say, this is how you have worked, and this is your management plan, this is who you have done, you've got so much CVs, and you shortlisted so much, and then how many women, how many males, all those reports, and then up to where you finished the interview, and up to your recommendation. Then we as the SGB entirely, if we adopt that, we agree with what the report it is, then we pass that motion, and then we submit to the district department so that they can appoint, and then their duties is to appoint. We have done everything. That's why I'm saying the SGB employs. So the one who's been co-opted without voting rights cannot able to sit on that. But now they bring that extent to the committee to say, based on that expertise again, you can be co-opted on the panel or on the committee to assist to run the interviews.
How many? Because it sounds like the job, the SGB is quite hectic and includes a whole lot of meetings. How many sittings do they have?
It's not like a whole lot of. The SGB, School Governing Body, sits once in a quarter. Quarter meaning 3 months or 90 days. But depending on the challenges or problems.
That they face.
Okay. It might be some urgent meeting because of the situation they're facing. Like, for example, now, now we are experiencing a lot of bullying within the schools, particularly high schools, but now it's even going to the primary.
The primary schools.
Yeah. So you may have those cases which they will need an urgent meeting to come and attend that. But according to the law, it's supposed to be once.
Once a year.
No, in a quarter.
In a quarter.
Yeah. That's where you're going to deliberate where you're coming from, where you are, and what is expecting moving forward, and everything like that. The reason for that is that when you're sitting there, the committees, remember, even themselves, they've got their own management plan. They may be sitting once a month or once a week or fortnight, but they've got their program. So when they're going to sit in the SGB that's where the meeting of the SGB shouldn't take more than 2 hours or 3 hours. Because they will be giving the report to say, this is how far we are, this is what we have done. But you see that we ignore, most of us as the SGB, we ignore these other committees. We're focusing on the entire meeting of the SGB, and we're talking, our agenda is becoming long and long and long, and we spend 5 hours because we have neglected these committees, which are the wheels of the SGB. Because if we are going to make use of them and make them to be accountable and hands-on, the meeting will never take long, because all we are going to hear is going to be the report to say we went to Durban as we have planned and everything like that, and then went well, and then that was how it's supposed to be. But it's unfortunately we are not yet there. But hopefully we will. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there.
We have Usisphilile Gumede. Welcome to Social.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for accepting. Sisphilile, before we start off, could you just introduce yourself to Ubani Wenzani?
Okay, igama lami uPhilile Gumede. I work with spaces social innovation, but specialize in capacity training for school governing bodies, the SGBs. So yeah, ngizogcina lapho for now, but zokuchazela kahle. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I think the part that I didn't mention is ikole khona ama fee paying nama non fee paying.
Okay.
So in endaweni eningi, especially esemalokishini mhlawumbe nasemafama kuba oma non fee paying. So isikole really is working with the budgets from the government, not from mhlawumbe ukuthi umzali uxhasile ngani. So izinto ezi-extra gcina seyikhathiwe ezingayenza abantwana babe right for the sake of i-budget. So that's why SGB is supposed to come in to say ukuthi okay, ikhona le budget, ithi sinisize na si-fundraise, senze ezinye izinto to supplement ukuthi zonke izinto isikole sethu siyithole. But they don't have the capacity to do that, or the connections. Sometimes umuntu ngamnika internet, someone needs to tell them ukuthi khona Google check ukuthi kwenzeka ukuthi, and we are those people who are coming in to say that actually even if imali ingekho ephaketheni ungakhuluma nomuntu so kanje kanje.
Sisphilile, could you tell us why do you feel I think you mentioned Wuti, you empower the SGB committees. Why the need to do so?
Oh, it would be so hard to answer that question without talking about myself and maybe how we got
Please.
Back in the days, we used to work around the issue of the sector media. Like we're interested in media and making sure that the community is receiving isn't as positive. And it was just going well, but because it's a social innovation space, I used to attend a conference around that issue. And there was Bukbalo World kuleyo conference leyo, and ngabachazela ukuthi nongisebenza kulesi space. And they were like, okay, it's a business. You're saying and it's also a business, so you want to make money. Those things is going kahle. If you've made money, then so what? Uba no tutukile, uba chelile ukuthi akube positive, then kwenzekalani. You need to think deeper about lento ufuna ukwazi ukuthi unga specialize kuphi kwi social kuthuthukisa umphakathi. I mean, this work is a calling. And really the first stop was to work around orphanage, orphans, to say okay labantwana transition ababuyela kumphakathi bangasizakala kanjani. Nakhona futhi there was something was missing in that until ngaze ngaya eGibbs esikoleni nakhona doing social innovation, but hayi man lento lena awusize la.
Yeah.
School governance. Uyini ongayenza kulesi space? And then kwabuya kumina ukuthi kahle kahle nangendlela engikhule ngayo kubazali bami bonke bawothisha bawo3 ba divorce kwaba khona omunye the all teachers and they doing community work. And when I was young engekho umuntu ozongigada, I would sit with the school governing body. Back then kwakhiwa isikole kufakwa ama bricks kufika abantu ba overseas. That felt more natural for me because it's angifundelanga ngikhule ngibona yenze. Yeah. So that's the reason why umuntu egcine se specialize ku school governance. And why do we feel so much passion for it? It's because I've seen it. It works. When you involve the community in school matters, it works. But in this case, because people ngendaba mhlambe ye apartheid nokuthi kunama limitations, even though sebekule role ayikho training. Even if ingaba khona ikhona abakhona, it becomes too technical.
Yeah.
Izinto ezikanjena zidinga imbizo akudinga ukuthi umuntu udinga ukuthi nihlale nenithi uba ungenza ukuthi but because of this big word school governing body governance, people get intimidated ukuthi sitshele ukuthi senze
kuyini yona no governance okhuluma
sitshele like vele. So that's where we came into sizomtshela ukuthi yenza ini. If nifuna ukunyusa le fence le nikhuluma nomuntu oproducer wona lama bricks ukuthi sisacela usidonatela u20 mhlawumbe nyeka zakwazi sithi okay since lo 5 rand and isikole si non profit and it's by right thina sino 2 rand 50 ungasinika yini ngo250 as a disc. There's always ways to get things done, but akekho. You must remember, if kukuthi kuthiwa school governance is taken from a community and umuntu ovolunteer mhlawumbe umuntu owagcina nje engayanga esikoleni uno standard 7 angeke bemxosha ngithi kumele zoba khona. But you can understand the frustration from inside the principal ozofundisa la ongekho interested ukuthi bakazi izinto must just get done. Ukuthi the patience to stop and explain, and I'm not saying it's not there. It's there, but it will be limited because they still also must focus on the quality of the education. So SGB, they are there. But who is not there is us from the private sector to say good night information. So we basically volunteer to say, okay, we're going to take a step back and stop what we thought we were going to do better and volunteer our time to say, do it. This is how you can do it.
Ama-services wenu, ama-committees lawo SGB, are they aware of them?
Yes, they are aware, but njengamanje, like, we are not asebenzi kuyonke indawo, like wonke ama-province, you know, we are not national, sifokasela, and we are only working with 10 schools. We did try that model. I need to remember nathi lana we are trying a model. Yes. Ukuthi okay, so isinike approach your business isifunele isikole, it didn't work. It didn't work. So what eventually is working for us njengamanje, we got schools Abraham Fisher like who are together, working together, 7 primary schools, 3 high schools, and we are helping them as a group. For now.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I was going to ask Guti, how do you target iy'kolo lezi enisebenza nazo?
Okay.
What's the criteria?
There's no criteria. It's just the willingness. People must be willing to do things. You know, because there's this thing, community work or outreach. Yabona ukuthi yabulala lento kancane abantu belokuthe into zamahala baya appreciate.
Yes.
That was some of the barriers ebesinawo lawo. Njengamanje model yet we work with CSI people who are saying we do have money, we can fund, we can give you what you want, but no projects are coming. So they're saying go and make sure you're creating quality project, then we can justify why is release money. That is the business part of it. but we are killing that model, or we are trimming that model to say ukuthi okay, before nilethe le mali akabafaki efforts nabo bakhombisa ukuthi ba interested to SGB ukuthi wozani sitshela ukuthi inkinga zenu, because usually what was happening, the reason we exist is because a corporate company will just come and just give them whatever from that without consulting or asking how can we help you. Even if they ask them how can we help you, they don't know, because they never had in bizo to say these are our challenges. So kleze kune giving engena engahlangani. So we are in between tina to say give, but give responsibly, ngabulala abantu. And we say nani participator from the heart and think about ukuthi ufuna ukusizwa ngani, besides if it's for free ngayifuna noma yini.
When is it suitable for members of the SGB to come to you and say ukuthi sidinga usizo?
Ideally,
I think you said ukuthi you go to the schools, right? So I'm asking for newly formed SGB committees.
Okay. The SGB is term yakhona is 3 years angithi. So last year beku year 1 for the new intake. This year it's year 2. So whoever is in SGB uzophuma by next year. So ideally the perfect time is when the SGB kungena entsha. For induction ukuthi bebe at least 3 years ukwenza something ebonakala esikoleni. Yabona, but njengamanje because of igap ekhona already, it's just whoever has a passion for it, whoever is ready to say we are ready to get involved as a community and do something about our school and bring opportunities. We take them on for that 1 year. 1 year. After that, then they'll be needing support, not hands-on training.
And community, or rather the parents within the schools, are they aware where ama roles adlalwa ama SGB?
No. They are too technical. They are too specialized in most cases. So if ungangibuza leyo question sisesikoleni sise Northcliffe, the answer will be different. If ungibuza esikoleni ese rural, the answer is different. It depends on the community ukuthi bafunde kangakanani leyo community to know how to execute technical roles, or to understand like ukuthi yenza ukuthi umuntu uzokwazi uzomtshela once I understand. Ngithi kuye ngokuthi umuntu information uyi retain kanjani.
I understand. Ukuzela ukuthi ngokuthi umzali udinga usizo from ESGB. Baxhumana njani na?
Oh, you mean like from abazali, not just the SGB?
Yes. Between abazali nje abasesikoleni nema SGB members.
In most cases,
in case of inkinga ezibakhona within the school.
In most cases angithi kuba khona ama meetings between abazali, like my parents meeting. So someone representing SGB, chairperson, they are usually there to relay that message, which we are available. But with that question again, the quality of interest abazali angithi we have to now talk about a social challenge ukuthi basasekhona yini, or basane interest in, or is it just umntwana uhleli nogogo? There are other challenges behind why SGB sometimes get challenged to execute ama roles wabo, or information ingafiki kubazali. One of the things njengoba usho leyo nto ngicabanga indaba yokuthi to even communicate with parents or get them to come is a mission, because sesiyamove manje address uhlala la for 3 months wabhalise ngeaddress yala, next thing usungale, next thing usungale, it's
nibe sekufuna kusasa bakuthole kule address.
Sometimes kuba nalawo ama challenges. Enye into futhi ngithi SGB, if a community is unemployed bagcina sebebona njenge employment opportunity, mhlawumbe bazohola le question nawo qale ngawo ukuthi sizo or masingahola kuzodliwa kamnandi kuzokwenza ini. So I don't know, mhlawumbe ngiyaphuma ku topic kancane, but it's in space esisebenza kusona sinama challenges with communication kakhulu.